2025 is packed with spooky movies, and spring is bringing the scream. From nostalgic horror to dark fairy tales to psychological thrillers, we're covering all the must-watch spooky movies one season at a time. Welcome to Springoween. Hello, and welcome back, Ghoster Squad. If you're new here, I'm Mandy Spooks, your spooky storyteller on all things Halloween, horror, and nostalgia. Now, grab a spooky seat, just don't sit on our house ghosts, and let's get into our first movie. I'll be going in chronological order, so be sure to stick around until the end for the top 3 spooky films from our community that they're most excited about this spring. Starting off with The Rule of Jenny Penn, releasing on March 7th, this psychological horror follows a former judge that is confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body as he tries to stop an elderly psychopath who employs a child's puppet to abuse the home's residents with deadly consequences. Now, this isn't my typical type of horror, but I do find the setting of an elderly home to be unique, and especially combining that with a child's puppet. I'm not sure if I'll see this one in theaters, but definitely will check it out once it hits streaming. Kudos to the trailer editor though, because the quote they included was pretty freaking spooky. "We don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing." Okay, and next we have Seven Veils premiering on March 7th as well. This one leans more mystery thriller, but could be good for some subtle spooky vibes. After years away, theater director Janine re-enters the opera world to stage her former mentor's famous work. Haunted by dark and disturbing memories from her past, Janine allows her repressed trauma to color the present as her personal and professional lives begin to unravel. Now, I love Amanda Seyfried since her Jennifer's Body Day and the Jennifer's Body Days, and the trailer for this one is giving off Black Swan meets Your Monster vibes, and I'm really curious to see where it goes. Okay, and this one really doesn't need an introduction. We all know this one. The very controversial Snow White live action movie is finally premiering on March 21st. This film has been getting a ton of hate, but as a lifelong Evil Queen fan, I'm really curious to see the film before I make any judgments. I will admit the evil witch scene was super underwhelming, but this fangirl is holding out and hoping for a spooky surprise in theaters. Okay, and this is where we kick up the horror vibes, and we're going to hang out here for a while, so get cozy. First up, we have The Woman in the Yard premiering on March 28th. A recent widow, Ramona, survives a car accident and is left seriously injured to care for her 14-year-old son and 6-year-old daughter in their rural farmhouse. Then one day, the woman takes form in their yard. Ramona assumes the woman is lost or demented, but as the woman creeps nearer and nearer to the house, it becomes clear she is no ordinary figure and intentions are anything but peaceful. Now Ramona must rally to protect herself and her children from the grasp of the woman who simply won't leave them alone. Okay, it is no secret that I am a major Blumhouse fan, and this film is, of course, no exception. The trailer goes into detail about how the woman in the yard uses light to get to its victims, so I'm extremely excited to see the cinematography for this one with Mr. Spooks, who is our in-house lighting expert, aka director of photography. Snaps for Mr. Spooks! Cinematography aside, I'm very intrigued by the story of this film because initially it reminded me of La Llorona in a way, and now that more information has come out, I just really love that it's giving more folklore horror vibes, even though I haven't come across any historical background on the film yet. So, if you've heard anything, please let a girl know in the comments down below because I'd love to learn more about the story in this film. And taking us right into April, Blumhouse is also spoiling us with Drop hitting theaters on April 11th when a widowed mother's first date in years takes a terrifying turn. She's bombarded with anonymous threatening messages on her phone during their upscale dinner, leaving her questioning if her charming date is behind the harassment. Okay, if you're new here, I'm just gonna let you know right now, I am that girl, the one who likes all the fun mainstream horror, hold the slow burns, and this film is right up my alley. The Woman in the Yard is for aspiring filmmaker Mandy, but Drop is for your favorite fangirl Mandy. It's me, Jessica!
I'm in here!
And I'm even more excited because it's starring Megan Faye, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she recently had a supporting role in Your Monster, another must-see spooky movie, but she's best known for her role in The Bold Type on Freeform. All right, you spooky thing, I see you're still here, which means you're vibing with this spooky queen. I'm honored. Before we get into the next batch of movies, don't forget we're covering all the spooky movies of 2025, one season at a time. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my Summerween spooky movie list when it drops. I mean, or don't. It's not like I'm gonna tell anyone you're too cool for Summerween, but I might haunt you. Next, we probably have one of the most highly anticipated horror films this year. It's steamy, it's bloody, it's Sinners, releasing on April 18th, starring Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. And in case you haven't already caught on from all the unnecessary puns, the greater evil is, well, in fact, vampires. This film has slowly started to catch wind in the spooky community, and I'm especially excited to see Haley play not just any villain, but a vampire nonetheless. Okay, and next we have, for sure, the most highly anticipated film for horror gamers, Until Dawn, dropping on April 25th. If there were ever a month to get that AMC A+ membership, April would be it. Just saying. Yo, AMC, hit Spooky Cool up for a sponsorship. Based on the 2015 horror game, Until Dawn follows Clover and her friends into the remote valley where her sister vanished in search of answers. Exploring an abandoned visitor center, they find themselves stalked by a mass killer and horrifically murdered one by one, only to wake up and find themselves back at the beginning of the same evening. Trapped in the valley, they're forced to relive the night again and again, only each time the killer threat is different, each more terrifying than the last. Hope dwindling, the group soon realizes they have a limited number of deaths left, and the only way to escape is to survive until dawn. Dun dun dun! I think this horror movie speaks for itself. The game has a cult following and is sure to be filled with lots of spooky fun and jump scares, and who knows, maybe your goal will just live stream playing the game before the movie hits theaters to get into the spooky vibes. Okay, and before we get into the top 3 most anticipated Springoween movies, I have a selfish but fun recommendation. Another Simple Favor is hitting Amazon Prime on May 1st, and yes, I know we all have opinions about Blake Lively, but I do love me some Anna Kendrick.
That's so funny.
And for all my mystery true crime lovers, the first film, A Simple Favor, was quite the fun ride if you want to prep for the sequel coming up soon. All right, we've made it. Are you ready to get into the top 3 most anticipated horror movies of Springoween? First up, we have Clown in a Cornfield hitting theaters on May 9th, just in time for all the halfway to Halloween vibes. It is so close, guys. This spooky movie is a movie adaptation of a very popular horror book, which is why our spooky girls are so excited for it. Clown in a Cornfield follows Quinn and her father, who have just moved to the quiet town of Kettle Springs, hoping for a fresh start. Instead, she discovers a fractured community that has fallen on hard times after the treasured Bay Pen corn syrup factory burned down. As the locals bicker amongst themselves and tensions boil over, a sinister, grinning figure emerges from the cornfields to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Welcome to Kettle Springs. The real fun starts when Friendo the Clown comes out to play. Now, I haven't read this book, but I might need to add it to my TBR for all the halfway to Halloween vibes, honestly. Halfway to Halloween. It is so close. I can just smell the corn candy already, can't you? Okay, and next we have the franchise that scarred us all for life, Final Destination. The highly anticipated film hits theaters on May 16th. In the newest chapter in New Line Cinema's bloody successful franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines takes audiences back to the very beginning of death's twisted sense of justice. Plagued by a violent, recurring nightmare, college student Stephanie heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle and save her family from the demise that inevitably awaits them all. So I'll be the first to admit I never saw all the movies, but the ones I did stuck with me forever. So be sure that you survive to see the latest installment. So stay clear of all dangerous highways and car washes, Woolsters. I tried my best at being a flight attendant for some reason. All right. And finally, getting us super hyped for Summerween, we end spring with Fear Street Prom Queen on May 23rd. Advertised as the new era of R.L. Stein's Fear Street, this spooky movie sent waves across the spooky community when it was announced, when the it girls competing for prom queen at Shadyside High start to disappear. A gutsy outsider discovers she's in for one hell of a prom night. I don't know about you, Ghosters, but I love me a good horror prom film. Give me Carrie, Buffy, prom night. Give them to me all. As you can see, Springoween is stacked and I cannot wait. It may not feel like spring in Colorado, but that's what movies are for, immersing you in the vibes you crave. It's how we keep the spook alive around here. So drop a comment, which spooky movie are you most excited to see this spring? And don't forget, we're covering spooky movies all year, so subscribe so you don't miss my Summerween watch list. Until next time, sending you ghouls and kisses. Bye!